Eric Spoelstra's 8-word message turns Eala's heartbreak into a global moment. The crowd in Tokyo had fallen silent. AlexEala, the 20-year-old tennis prodigy from the Philippines, stood, frozen at the baseline, her racket dangling from her hand. The scoreboard above her read like a cruel sentence. 6-46, 6-7. Another heartbreak, another narrow defeat that slipped through her fingers like mist. Her eyes glistened under floodlights. She had fought, clawed, screamed, and still lost. As she walked toward the net, her lips quivered, her chest heaved, and the entire world saw the truth. This wasn't just a loss. It was a wound. The cameras captured her tears. The commentators went quiet, and halfway across the world, one man, an unexpected voice from another sport, watched her with a kind of knowing empathy. That man was Eric Spoelstra, head coach of the Miami Heat. The message that shocked the world. Hours later, while Eala sat alone in her hotel room, scrolling through social media, her phone buzzed with a notification. It was from an account she didn't expect. At Coach SPO official, champions are made from heartbreaks they refuse to waste. 8 words, no emojis, no hashtags, no tags, just a simple message. But those 8 words would soon become one of the most viral moments in sports that year. A connection rooted in the islands. Spoelstra's words didn't come out of nowhere. Like Eala, he carried Filipino roots deep in his blood. Though raised in America, the Miami Heat coach had always been proud of his heritage. He had spent years giving back to the Philippines, mentoring young athletes, and visiting local communities. When he saw Eala, his Kababiti, and his fellow Filipino collapse emotionally after yet another gutting loss, he recognized something familiar. That Filipino fire, the one that burned with love, not ego. Later, when reporters asked him why he decided to post that message, Spoelstra smiled and said, "Because I saw myself in her. I saw a kid who plays with her heart on her sleeve. I saw pain, but I also saw promise. Heartbreak is fuel if you use it right." The world reacts. The internet exploded. Sports pages from ESPN to CNN picked up the story. Within 24 hours, Spoelstra's 8-word message had been shared over 3 million times. Fans across the world began tweeting, posting, and quoting it alongside images of Eala in tears. Hashtag Refuse to Waste began, trending in multiple countries. Famous athletes joined in. Naomi Osaka reposted, with a caption, "Every word truth." Serena Williams commented, "This is a kind of mentorship women's sport needs." Even Jimmy Butler, Spoelstra's Miami Heat star, tweeted, "Coach just dropped a life lesson again. Respect." Suddenly, what had been Eala's private heartbreak became a global movement about resilience. The girl who almost gave up. But in the hours before that message went viral, AlexEala was in a very different state. According to her coach, Nino Barocca, Eala had spent most of that evening in silence. She didn't want to eat. She didn't want to talk. She simply kept replaying the last set in her head. The missed forehand at 5-5, the double fault in the tiebreaker. She kept saying, "Maybe I'm not cut out for this," Barocca recalled. That's when the notification popped up and everything changed. When Eala saw Spoelstra's tweet, she read it once, then again. Then she burst into tears, but this time not from pain. It felt like someone had reached into my chest and handed my heart back to me. She would later say, "From Miami to Manila, the ripple, the Philippine media went wild." News anchors quoted Spoelstra's words on live television. Sports headlines screamed, "Eric Spoelstra's message revives Eala's fighting spirit." From the NBA to WDA, Coach SPO inspires. A nation. Heartbreak turned hope. The message heard around the world. At ATA, Manila University, where Eala trained as a junior, students painted a mural on a campus wall, her silhouette mid-serve, with the words champions are made from. Heartbreaks they refused to waste in. Gold. Soon after, a local NGO launched a youth sports program in partnership with Spoelstra's foundation, naming a project. Refused to waste dedicated to teaching. Resilience, self-worth, and discipline to underprivileged Filipino athletes. The call that changed everything. A few days later, received an unexpected call. Alex, a calm voice over the line. This is Coach SPO. For a few seconds, she couldn't speak. Spoelstra laughed softly. Hey, relax. I'm just proud of you. You got something special. And I want you to know that heartbreak is part of the process. You can't skip it. You can only grow through it. He told her about the 2011 NBA Finals, how the Miami Heat lost to the Mavericks despite having LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh, how the defeat haunted him. That loss was the best thing that ever happened to us. He said, it taught us to respect pain, to let it shape us, instead of shame us. Then he paused and added, Alex, your story isn't about how many matches you lose. It's about how you turn every heartbreak into power. Spoelstra's pride watching from Miami. Spoelstra saw the highlight clip and smiled. In a post-match interview of his own, when a journalist asked about Eala's performance, he said, I didn't teach her anything new. I just reminded her of what she already had inside. That's a Filipino spirit. Resilient, relentless, radiant. He paused and added, and I'll tell you this. I've coached world champions. But what Alexander did that day, that's what real victory looks like. The power of 8 words. Months after that, Eala and Spoelstra were both featured in Time Asia's special issue, Voices of Resilience. The article highlighted their connection as an example of cross-port mentorship, how one simple message could transcend boundaries, generations, and disciplines. Eala reflected, it's crazy, right? 8 words. That's all it took to turn heartbreak into hope. But sometimes that's how life works. You just need someone to remind you that pain isn't wasted if you let it teach. Her quote went viral again. This time it wasn't just athletes sharing it. It was teachers, parents, students, even business leaders who saw themselves in her story, legacy in motion. A year after the original heartbreak, Alexander, Eala returned to Tokyo, the very court where she had once broken down. This time, the stands were filled with fans, waving small Philippine flags and banners reading, refused to waste. She walked to the baseline, closed her eyes, and smiled. This court once made me cry, she told reporters afterward, but it also made me grow. And for that, I'm grateful. That day, she didn't just win the match. She won the moment, the coach, the player, and the words. When asked recently what he thought of the legacy of those 8 words, Eric, Spoelstra chuckled. It's wild, man. I sent that tweet half asleep on a flight, home from practice. But maybe that's the beauty of truth. It doesn't need to be loud or long. It just needs to be honest. And for Alexander Eala, those 8 words became a compass guiding her to the highs and lows of a life lived under the spotlight. Champions are made from heartbreaks they refuse to waste. 8 words, 1 message, a lifetime of meaning. Because sometimes all it takes to change a career or even a world is a voice that believes in you and you've forgotten how to believe in yourself. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like, and share.